Hello, Wargamers. Luka here from MiniWarGaming.com, joined by Rob from Battlefront Miniatures, and today I have the privilege of playing my first game of Flames of War. I am very excited for this opportunity, as I have always been fascinated with World War II, and Rob here will be going through the rules for myself and all of you at home if you're unfamiliar with Flames of War. Let's jump in to the forces that we'll be using, and we are using this opportunity to show off the new late war German rules for 4th edition, the Bulge German Army Book. Today I will be playing the German forces from the Battle of the Bulge. Specifically, I will be playing a tank hunter company. Now, leading this tank hunter force is a Jagdpanther tank hunter company HQ. He's got a big old tank. And with him, I have 3 platoons, one being a tank hunter platoon of 2 teams. We have the Hornice tank hunter platoon of 2 teams, and the Ostwind platoon of 2 teams as well. Now, it's important to note that those are the core parts of my entire force. I got to keep them around. But we are, of course, bringing a lot of German support, starting out with a Panzer Grenadier platoon of 7 teams, with Panzerfaust and 4 half-tracks. It's a pretty big platoon altogether. We have a Scout Troop platoon with 2 Puma teams. A Panzer IV tank platoon with 3 teams of Panzer IVs. And we are, of course, bringing some artillery to support our forces. We are going to bring a Hummel artillery battery with 3 teams. And that rounds out my German forces. Let's go take a look at the Americans.
For the American forces today, we're going to be running an M4 Sherman Late Tank Company with its support. But first, let's take a look at that formation's core units. So leading this force, we have the M4 Sherman Late Tank Company HQ, consisting of 2 M4 Shermans Late with a 75mm gun. One is the company HQ, the second is the second in command. And to assist the company HQ, we have platoons of M4 EZ8s with 76mm guns. In addition to those EZ8s, there is also an M4 Jumbo in the platoon. We also have in the force a platoon of 4 M4 Chaffies with 75mm guns. Supporting our force today, we have an M8 Greyhound Cavalry Recon Patrol consisting of 2 M8 Greyhounds with 37mm guns and 2 Jeeps. And we have a parachute rifle platoon consisting of 7 teams of ground rifles, a 60mm mortar, and a bazooka. Moving on, we have the M4 Sherman Calliope tank platoon of 3 M4 Sherman Calliopes. The final piece to this equation are 2 M26 Pershings with 90mm guns.
And a fun fact, both the forces that Rob and I will be running today are starter boxes for their, relevant sides. The Germans, what you see here is everything you get in the heavy tank hunter box. And on the American side,
we have the American Spearhead Force.
And both these forces clock in at just under 100 points each, which is your average game. So you buy the one box and you're ready to go.
We play and call it work.
What we're playing today is the second mission, Free-for-All, from the basic missions that you find in your books. The premise here is that the breakthrough has been successful and the situation is fluid. Our main objective is to find and destroy the enemy.
Now, for deployment in this mission, both players will be deploying along the long table edge here, 12 inches away from it, which means we will be 24 inches apart. That will be no man's land. And within those deployment zones, there will be an 8-inch strip along the long table edge there, where we will be placing objectives that we're trying to capture in our opponent's deployment zone. The game is simply to capture one of the 2 objectives, or, failing that, force the enemy army to rout so that the field is yours.
So there's no set amount of turns in the game. The game is won simply by meeting one of the 2 objectives.
All right, I think it's about time we get into this game and take a closer look at the table. First, before we get into this, I do want to talk about the terrain. Everything you see here is from Gale Force 9. the roads, the older roads, the mat, double-sided mats. The other side's got design, desert design on the other side. The little buildings to scale for our game, the ruined church, the footprint for the woods. The woods themselves here are from adamant greenleaf terrain, but everything you see here is very relevant for a good old Flames of War game. Now, as you can see, my German forces are deployed along this long table edge over here. And then we have the Americans opposite. And to go over my deployment, we have our Panzer IVs. We got our command tank. This is the, I like to call it the Hunter Panther. And we got our, I remember this. I apologize for any tank fans out there because I will stumble over the names of some of the vehicles here. Sorry, I went to go look, and then as I looked, I remembered they're the Hummels. Platoon of Ostwind, Hornice. These are the Pumas. Those are like the fast scout vehicles. And then we got more of the Hunters, the Panzer Hunters over here. And our infantry all in their half track. So our entire infantry platoon is heavily on our left flank, very obviously making a push for that objective. And Rob, what do we have for your forces?
So guarding that objective that you're going to be going for are our platoon of Calliopes. We have our Easy-8s hiding behind the building just in case you get some early shots. We have our airborne Easy Company. We have some Chaffies on the road here ready to make a move and scoot. We have our platoon, or our company commander and his second in command, our scout patrol, and our Pershings.
Yeah, those are scary. Big old scary tanks. Now, as we deployed and figured out our sides, the Americans in this case are the attackers in this scenario, so they started deploying first, and they will be going first. Now, we are playing a mission with the meeting engagement rule, and this will be relevant in a lot of missions when it comes to Flames of War. We are playing one of the most rudimentary ones, very basic for my sake, so I can learn the game at a basic level. There's a lot of layers to this game if you want there to be. And with meeting engagement, the player who takes the first turn will be under the effect of a lot of restrictions. Essentially, everything counts as if it had moved. Therefore, the artillery won't be firing, among other things, which we'll discuss as it comes up. Other than that, though, we are ready to start this game with the Americans, and for the first little bit of the game, we are going to be going over the finer details of it and how it operates at a per phase level. So if you're already intimate with Flames of War, bear with us here. This is to help out those who might not be overly familiar with it, but are heavily interested in a tank war game, especially a World War II one, because I know this is like me in a nutshell, folks. This game is made for Luka. So without further ado, let's go to turn one. Americans.
So the first phase of a player's turn is called the starting step. In that stage, there's many things that you would end up doing, like morale checks or repairs. But for the sake of the first turn, none of that's applicable now. So we're going to move past that into the next step, which would be movement. Something important to note at the beginning of this game is that the infantry on the American side begin the game dug in and gone to ground. These are elements of the game that will become more relevant and explained at a later point in time.
Whereas for my troops on the German side, they are starting in transfers. They will not be benefiting from those rules. Now, in the movement phase of a player's turn, you're going to pick one of your platoons and you're going to declare what speed you want them to move at. There are several different speeds. Let's go ahead and take a look at a unit card to give you some examples of that.
So if you notice, the highlighted section shows you the tactical speed which your teams can move at and still engage the enemy by shooting their weapons. The other three, if available on those cards, represent your dash speeds through those terrain types and how far they can move. But in the dash speed section, they're unable to fire their weapons.
Typically, you would dash just to get into a better position on the table if you have no shots to do, or if you desperately need to get somewhere a lot faster than you typically would.
We're going to start off by moving the Chaffies at a road dash speed of up to 28 inches of movement to try to get into a better position. And with pre-measuring, we know that this team is going to end up over here.
Not quite going the full 28, but taking advantage of that quick speed all the same.
And the rest of the team has followed suit into its position. So the Easy-8s are going to do a terrain dash to go hide up behind these buildings and get ready to fight some Germans.
And they take up position behind the buildings. Very safe.
Up next, we're going to be moving our Pershings at a tactical move to try to engage the Germans this turn. And we will move him
Avoiding all
right up
terrain.
here, avoiding all the terrain to line up a shot.
Yeah, if anyone's curious, their tactical speed is 10. They're a little bit slower, but they're much heavier tanks.
Yep. So the company HQ is going to follow up behind the Pershings and take up a position. And our scout platoon is going to move at its tactical speed and end up right here.
And these last 2 units?
These last 2 units, the airborne, are going to remain there to hold that objective to keep Luka from winning. And same with our Calliopes off here on our right flank.
And that will conclude the movement phase. Nice and simple. We're going to go on to the shooting phase now, and we get to have some fun.
We're going to start this show off by firing our Pershings at some Panzer IVs and a Jagdpanther.
And that is the targets. That's my commander and my Panzer IVs. Let's take a look at the Pershing card to get an idea of how its big gun will work.
So if you check in the highlighted area, we're going to be talking about the Pershing's 90mm gun. It has a range of 36 inches, and because it moved, it's rate of fire 1 with an anti-tank of 14. And if we happen to penetrate the armor, we'll be doing a firepower check to see if it survives or not.
Now, taking a look at the Jagdpanther's defensive capabilities, unlike other war games, to see if you succeed at hitting, you look at the defenses of the enemy, and as you can see by the highlighted area, he is careful. So he's generally only hit on a 4+ roll, as he knows how to maneuver around the battlefield and not expose himself so easily. And then, looking underneath that to the next highlighted area, you'll see the armor values of the Tank Hunter Company HQ here. The front armor being 9, the side and rear being 5, and the top of his armor against artillery, among other things, is only 1. And we will describe how this works with rolling dice in but a moment. Now we have to check to see if we add any other modifiers to the to-hit value on my commander here. The main one here being, obviously the Pershing is within range to fire its big gun, but you have to see if it's within long range or short range. So anything over 16 inches when it fires is long range, which will add an additional modifier to the hit roll. So instead of being hit on a 4+, the tank commander will be hit on a 5+. There is no terrain or concealment in the way to add any more to that. A pretty clean shot, avoiding the destroyed chapel there into my tank commander. I'm just going to hope that his armor will save him against the Pershing. And another important fact to point out here for the tanks are the facings are quite simple. You always look at the facing of the defender. His 180, you do 180 degrees. You don't do 45 degrees here. So the front facing is directly forward. The Pershing is within that 180 forward, shooting at the front armor. And because it's a fixed gun, that will always be the case. It does get a little different when it comes to turreted weapons, because if the turret's side is facing, you will then shoot at that side armor, because you always fire at the easiest target. Anyways, we are looking for a 5 to hit from the Pershing. Good luck, Rob.
Thanks.
What do we got? Oh, it's a 6. Ba-ba-ba-bum. And that's bad for me. So now we are going to go into detail about how the defenses work. Earlier, I said the defense for my tank on the front is 9. That is still true. But because of the long range of the shot, over 16, we will add 1 to that. So it is front armor 10. Now what I'm going to do here is try and save against the shot. Essentially, generally, it goes roll to hit, roll to save, and then roll to apply damage. Now what I'm doing here is I'm going to roll a d6 and add the value of the roll to my current armor value, and if I exceed the anti-tank value of the shot just bounces off the armor of the tank and the tank is fine. But if I match, there is something else to be done. So I am, because I'm armor 10, anti-tank 14, I'm looking for a 5+ to negate the shot completely. And we're going to get a 4, which we meet. It's a tie. Ooh, that's not good for me. Now, because I tied it, the tank will not be destroyed. But Rob here is still going to roll a firepower die, which is a 3+. Oh, it's a 2. So it was superficial, essentially, is what that shot was. Scratch the paint, but it was a solid hit, though. We're going to go ahead and repeat that process for this Pershing, fire into my Panzer IVs. So we are going to be always firing at, so Rob pretty much gets to declare which one he wants to fire at, one of them being the easiest, but they're all probably equally difficult because they will be concealed.
So I'm going to choose the Panzer IV that's closest to you, Luka. The reason being is he's not concealed entirely by that building, because I have a limited visibility shooting through terrain. He's the only one that's in open area.
To go into further details, this ruin completely blocks the line of sight to this tank, and where this one as well, because he's so deep into the ruins that he's unable to be seen. Whereas this one will be concealed, the ruins will protect him somewhat, adding a further modifier to the shot. So as we've seen earlier, it is long range and then concealment. So that's adding 2 to the roll. We just have to go check to see what the to hit modifier on a Panzer is. As we see here with the Panzer IV, the armor values are all different and is to hit on is different here. So look to the highlighted area and we'll see that these tanks and the teams inside like to play this game aggressively, and they're much easier to hit on a 3+ instead of a 4.
So what we're going to do here is Luka's tank basic to hit is a 3+. We're adding in long range, making it a 4+, and then a further +1 for concealment, making it a 5+.
Let's see what the Pershing can do. That is a 1.
No.
Well, nothing bad happens on a 1.
No.
It's just a miss. That is basically, in most circumstances, how firing will work. Well, now, we won't go into those extreme details for the rest of this, but we still will narrate why certain rolls are needed.
So Luka, what I'm going to do next is my Chaffies are going to take some shots at your Panzer IV-H down there at the end of that road.
And then one of them does have to change his turret up a little bit here.
Yep, this guy will have to turn his turret to face the enemy. And what that will end up doing in later turns, Luka will talk about it a bit more, but it's going to expose my weaker side armor of my turret down that road. So the Chaffies have a moving rate of fire of 1. And based on what we did before, we're going to need a 4+ in order to hit that Panzer IV.
Just because of the long range, there's no concealment on him.
Yep.
And that's a hit.
1 hit.
If you remember looking back at the Panzer card, they have armor 6 on the front, but 7 because of long range. And what was the anti-tank value?
10.
10. Okay, well, we are looking for that. That's a 6. Boom. We pass.
So that's going to conclude the American turn 1. You'll notice that there's a couple elements that did not move or shoot. The first up is the airborne. They're going to stay there and hold that objective. They're going to keep their gone to ground and dug in status. And the Calliopes also didn't move because they're in a strategic valued point as well. And you'll note they didn't shoot because in this scenario in the first turn, as the attacker, my artillery is not allowed to shoot.
Correct, yeah. And then we have the Shermans in this position. They dashed. Everything else essentially dashed or has no real viable targets. Mm-hmm. And that's it. We're going to go on a turn 1 for the Germans. Now for the German turn, the first phase is still the starting step. This is again where you kind of clean up the board state a little bit, rally your troops, remount your tanks, get the teams back in them. Except I got lucky and I didn't take any damage, so I don't have to do any of that. So we can go right on to the movement phase for the Germans. And in fact, my artillery, I will have to move in the first turn, so I'll move them. They won't be firing either. But I'm going to reposition some of these tanks and just start trading blows with these Pershings and see what I get. Let's just keep this simple for the first thing. These half tracks are going to cross-country dash 16 inches, zipping up towards the woods. Just zipping up between the hill and the roads there. Taking a minute to kind of plan out the rest of my turn. These Hunter Panthers are going to go tactical speed. They're going to go up to 10. And we're going to have Buddy Boy join them. And they're going to try and deal with these Easy A's over here. Sorry, Easy 8. Easy 8. I don't know anything about tanks. but those are easy. And we got the Jumbo up front. The Jumbo leads the way.
Oh, yeah, Jumbo leads the way.
Next, we're going to move the Pumas at a tactical speed, which is only 10. They are very close to, what are these again?
M4 Chaffies.
The Chaffies in like style of play, it looks like. So we're going to move, it's about 6 to there, and then it was a further 4 to get there. And then we're going to have Buddy Boy join right there. Then the Hornice will move to there. That's the only one I'm going to be able to get shots with, I think. Everything else is well hidden. Towards the Chaffies, that is. Then this one, the commander, will move to there. Going to move on to the Ostwinds here. They are in the woods, so they have to do a check called the cross check. Now, if you look at the highlighted area for the Ostwind, right to where all the movement is, the very far right box, you'll see cross. That is the cross check. On a D6 roll, I need to roll 3 up. Typically, tracked vehicles cross on a 3 up, wheeled vehicles on a 4+, generally. And they have to check the moment they go to move. So we'll start with the Ostwind there. He moves, and then the other Ostwind, they both pass. If they had failed, however, they just stay where they are and they lose the rest of their movement, but that is, and they count as having moved tactical move. So my Hummels have no great targets right now. I can use my tank commander here to spot for them, but he has to give up his shooting, and I'd rather him shoot right now. So we're going to go ahead and perform some cross checks, get him in the woods, start with you. Okay, you're stuck right there. We'll go the one Hummel in the middle. He'll move in, and then the final Hummel, I'll show you their final positions. But they have to stay within command, which is 6 inches. There you go, staying within command. The center model is the command model, so the entire platoon must stay within 6 inches of that model. And that's kind of true for a lot of my platoons are just 2 teams strong, so it's easy enough to stay within command there. It's like the only three element team I have, or 3 element platoon I have. We are going to keep our tank commander still, because you are able to pivot a little bit in the shooting phase before you go to fire with the fixed weapon. And we're going to move on to the Panzer IVs. We're going to keep this team here still, and we're going to roll some cross checks for the remaining 2. They have a cross check of 3+, as the Hummels did. I forgot to mention that earlier. So the first guy in the ruins will move. He's just going to move to right there. And then the other Panzer is going to try and break into the ruins, and he does. And he's going to end up right there. That will conclude my movement. I got a lot of big guns trained on those guys, the Chaffies here.
Yeah, I don't know what Chaffies did to you in a past life, Luka, but you got a lot of hurt pointing at him right now.
The little ones must go down. I don't know. They were like the most convenient enemy at the time. And I'm afraid of them ripping up the middle and tearing apart my light stuff, the Hornies and the Hummels. They're rather soft, if I'm to be honest. And I don't want them getting, they can just take them out no problem. So we're going to go into shooting. We're going to start with something exciting there. We're going to go with our tank, our company commander here, and he's going to go ahead and fire, and he can pivot towards anything in his front arc, which is the 180 here, and take a shot. So we're going to go bloop, and we're going to go and have Panther Hunter up against Pershing. Now, the Pershing is a careful tank, so only hitting it on a 4, and we are over 16. So looking for 5s to hit here, because that is not concealing the shots. But our halted rate of fire is 2. We're looking for a pair of 5s for extreme glory.
You are so...
I can't help but laugh. Come on, what is that nonsense? A pair of hits. Boom, boom. Now, I do have to get through the armor of it, however. What's the front armor of it?
Well, first of all, I don't think you should be treating your first-time guest like that with only a pair of 6s, Luka. I'm just telling you.
That's fair. I got no control over that. That was wild. Okay.
But to get back to it, the Pershing has a front armor of 9. But again, because it's over 16 inches, we're going to be a 10. So what's your AT?
17.
So this is going to be a special rule in Flames of War where I'm going to need a 6 and then a 5 or better.
Okay.
So...
Okay, good luck.
And we're applying both hits to only the one Pershing?
Only one in sight.
Because this one is not in line of sight of the Jagdpanther CO. So.
Correct. And that's a 6.
So I got 1. Let's see if we can get another.
Oh, you do save.
So I bounced 1. So you got 1.
Firepower.
That's going to be a firepower check. And what's your firepower, Luka?
3+. Boom.
4. So he's destroyed. Let's get a little fire marker here.
And kablooey. It is now acting as a piece of terrain there. And that was a glorious shot. That's why he's the commander. That was dramatic. Let's go on to the Panzer IVs. Now, one of them didn't move, so it gets its full rate of fire, and the other 2 did move, so they use their move rate of fire, which is 1 for the pair of them, and then this Panzer IV gets 2 shots. I'll declare all the shots into this tank first, which means that'll be allocated to the first shot, and then the only other one would be the one in the middle of the crossroads, because line of sight to the other 2 is impossible right now. So let's go ahead, and all the modifiers should be about the same. Yeah. So this tank here will suffer the concealment because he's too far away from the edge of the ruins, and he might actually end up hitting the ruins to represent that concealment, whereas these 2 will not be. So I'll do their 3 shots. What is the to-hit value?
The to-hit value on the Chaffee is a 4+, because they're careful.
They are careful. Okay, so I'm looking for 5s to hit because of the long range on these 2. We are going to get no hits there, and then a singular shot on a 6. Oh, you dodge them all. And we're going to move on to the Ostwinds. They have much lighter guns, but fully capable of doing some damage. Taking a look at the weapon on the Ostwind, it is a 3.7 centimeter weapon here. It does actually have a unique halted rate of fire of 3 and a moving rate of fire of 2. So I will get 4 shots with them, and their anti-tank value is 7, as that's more of an auto cannon than a proper heavy weapon here. You might notice also that they are dedicated anti-air weapons, but the Germans at some point figured out, well, that's just as good at taking out lighter tanks as well as aircraft. Now I can roll all these shots at the same time. I would like to point out, though, that we are within 16 inches, so there's no long-range penalties, and there's no bonuses for short range. You just don't suffer the negative ones, but it is concealed by the house pretty heavily. And it's a careful vehicle, so I'm hitting on 4s normally, but because of concealment, 5s. We're gonna, oh, nothing. We move on to the Hornies over here now, and they are going to take more shots at the Chaffies in the middle. So we do have concealment, and we are at long range. So we're looking for 6s to hit here, but those are pretty big guns. They are the exact same gun on the Panther Hunter there. So our anti-tank 17. So if these do go through, well, they're going
to go through.
So 6s to hit. Oh, we got a hit. I think it automatically goes through the armor.
Well, something important to note here, Luke, is notice that the turret is facing that way.
Oh, yeah.
So because the side armor is exposed to that shot, it was already going to go through the front armor. It's going to go through even more so because it's the side armor of that turret. Not that it really makes a difference. You're just going to go straight to firepower either way.
And I think we're looking for a 3+ to destroy. That is
You're
a
correct.
5. So we destroy one of the Chaffies. And the Chaffee's down. And that does finish up their fire. We're going to move on to the Pumas. We're going to take a couple shots down the road. Now, I can no longer declare that Chaffee as the target. We have to declare the one behind it, and that will mean he'll be concealed because of the wreck in front of him now. So upon closer inspection, both of the tanks here are within 16 inches, so they're both within a short range. So I'm just going to declare that one as the main target, as there will be no negatives for this Puma to fire at him, though this one will still suffer the concealment. Rolling this Puma up first on a 4 to hit because there's no modifiers, and the other one will be a 5 because of concealment. That's also a 1. They tried, though. And last thing I have to fire could be very dramatic. These pair of Panther Hunters are going to be firing at these Easy 8s. Now, we have the big guy out front, so we're just going to fire at him because why not? He's close by. We don't want to take the negative modifiers, but he does have the highest armor. We're just going to hope to brute force our way through it. And the Easy 8s are all careful, so they are 4s to hit. Got a couple of shots with these big guns. We got, oh, double twos. That's very good for the Easy 8s there. And that will conclude my turn because there's no assaulting yet. And we're done the first battle round. And we got some damage on the table. On to battle round 2 for the Americans.
All right, so we're at the start of the American turn 2. And as we've been doing, we're going to start off with the starting step. And in this particular phase, we're going to skip down to point number 3, which is check unit last stand, because I only have 1 Pershing left.
And this is relevant for platoons that are reduced down to essentially, in most cases, 1 element or 1 team remaining, where they have to do a last stand check. And if they fail it, they decide their presence is better elsewhere. Now, to figure out how last stand works, you take a look at the highlighted area here. This is motivation. This covers a lot of aspects of the morale. How motivated is your team to accomplish something that they really don't want to do because morale is hammering them down. As you'll see, the Pershing team is confident and they will succeed on a roll of a 4-up.
So I need to motivate my platoon of Pershings to stay on the table, Luka. I am motivated, so I'm a 4 or better. But because I have my company commander here, he's within 6 inches, it allows me a re-roll.
That's to all motivation checks.
Yep. You got a 2.
Oh,
so
no.
We're gonna change dice. 6.
Hey, 6.
So there we go.
All right, so the Pershing, the very heavy tank, decides to keep fighting. And that will finish up the starting step. There's nothing else to really do yet. We're going to go right on to movement.
To start things off, we're going to leave our Pershing still so that he gets his full rate of fire during the shooting step. And we're going to end up moving our company command elements forward at a tactical speed.
And then not committing to the full tactical speed. We don't want to expose themselves to the tank commander over here after witnessing what he was able to do. But they want to hammer down the Panzer IVs.
Next, we're going to move our scout patrol unit around at a tactical speed to see if we can take some shots on those Panzer IVs.
And that's where they end up with all their machine guns and heavy machine guns. So many guns. To the Chaffies.
And onto the Chaffies, we're going to move at a tactical speed to get over there and take some shots at the Ostwinds.
And we're going to leave that one Chaffee stationary because he's already in a good spot.
He's going to stay stationary so he gets his full rate of fire.
Voila.
So our infantry are going to continue to hold their ground and covering that objective. Our Calipes are going to do the same. And our Easy 8s are going to stay still so they get full rate of fire at your Yag Panthers.
We're just going to trade blows at each other.
Yeah. And on to shooting, we're going to start where it's most exciting. Some Easy 8s on the Yag Panthers.
All right. Tight combat, very stressful. The main difference between the Jumbo and the Easy 8s is that the Jumbo has a much higher armor in the front of the turret, as you can kind of tell by the model itself. But all their big guns are the same, so we can resolve them all at the same time. However, one Easy 8 in the back will be in long range, so we'll have to roll him separately. The other ones, however, close. And the Panther Hunters here are careful pilots, tank cases, tank drivers. The teams are careful, so they're hit, even though they're right out in the open, they're only hit on 4s. But 5s for the guy at long range. So bring it on, Rob. What do we got?
So what we have with our 76 mil guns, Luka, is we've got a rate of fire 2 when we're halted. So we're going to fire the front 4 at your Jagdpanthers needing a 4 or better.
I hate this for me. Ooh, okay, 50-50. Can't get mad at the odds there.
Now we're going to do the 2 at 5, or yeah, 5s.
Ooh.
No, so just 2 hits.
The range helps me. I only get armor value 9 in the front because it's in short range. So I am looking, oh man, these guys are tough tanks. I'm looking for a 3+ here. Ooh, but there's a mechanic here that hasn't come up yet. We actually got more than 1 hit on 2 different targets. So Rob declares this as the main target. So the first, I moved him a little bit, the first hit is allocated to that tank, and then you have to evenly spread out the other hits. So there's only 1 other hit that's easy, just goes on the other tank.
And to point out, you roll these dice specifically for that vehicle for the
Correct.
save.
This is the commander, so the commander could die. So I'll do him first, why not? So he's armor 9 on the front, and this is a strength of 12. So I'm looking for a 4 to beat it. So I need a 4 up to save. What is that?
It's a 1.
It's a 1, so that's bad. That's a hard fail. And then this guy, a 6. He does pass it, so it ricochets off his armor. Now we have to see if the firepower is enough to take out the Panther Hunter there, or Hunter Panther. Can I get lucky yet again? 3+, he's dead. Oh, you got him. Boom, I gotta put smoke on him. Boom. So he is Eddie. That's my commander gone too. All right, however, that just means he becomes the new commander because he just commands himself now. But much like the Pershings, I have to do last stand checks every turn. Ugh.
So moving on next, we're going to take some shots with our Chaffies at your Ostwins, Luka, and your Hornice. We're going to actually split fire.
Yeah, we kind of noticed the good shots after the move there. The Hornice are only armor 2 on the front with the big gun, so they're great targets for the Chaffies.
And to point out, the guy that stayed still turned his turn, he's going to shoot at the Ostwins. These 2 that moved, now at rate of fire 1 each, because they moved, are going to shoot at the Hornice.
And we're going to start this off with the Hornice getting targeted. The nearest one is within 16, so it's the target. So no long-range penalties, no concealment penalties, only armor 2. Ooh, before we go any further.
Yep, sorry to admit this to you, Luka. I just looked at the card, and Chaffies, because they've got some specialness to them, I have a moving rate of fire of 2.
That means they have double the shots here. That's okay. That's okay because they didn't really do too much early on. They would have had a couple extra shots, so we apologize for missing that. But this is where it really matters. So it will be 4 shots against the Hornice here. And then does he get a 3rd rate of fire if he stays still? The one that did stay still?
Their normal rate of fire is 2 when
It's
they
just
stay still. They
always
just
2?
have a special ability that when they move, they don't reduce it.
Okay, so we got 2 shots at the Ostwin and 4 at the Hornice. We're going to start with the Hornice. They're careful tanks, so they're hit on 4s, and there's no other modifiers here we have to worry about.
Because we pre-measured, they're within short range. So, ready?
Yeah. That is a hit. 2 hits.
2 hits.
2 hits. Oh, boy. So that's a hit on both tanks. Boom, 1 hit on each tank. And then we have to resolve the shots from that. Not Hornice. That's my tank. That's a Chaffee into my Ostwins. That's it.
So, again, we need 4 or better.
That is a hit, and on the main target there.
Yes.
We're going to start our saves over at the Hornices, where we're just going to get the most sad. They're armor 2 on the front against anti-tank 10, you said?
10, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to go right through their armor. I have no save against that. So we're relying on the firepower die being kind to us.
Yep. So we're going to start with the one closest to you, Luka.
This one here. That's the commander. That doesn't really matter,
so
I guess.
3 or better.
Oh, he lives!
So he's bailed, and the one closest to me is also double. Now you're bailed each one. So.
Ooh. Well, I have to do checks for him still, but they're still on the table.
Yep.
Put these 2 bailout markers just to represent the fact that the crew of the tanks are focusing on literally everything but the battlefield right now to make sure the tanks are operating, their lives are safe, and all of that. There might be a fire they're trying to put out, or maybe they're repairing the tracks or something. There's something going on that they can't focus on the battle for now. We will address that later on my turn. We're going to move on to the Ostwins, where I have an armor of 4 on the front, even though it's a Panzer hull. They had to give up a lot of the armor for the ridiculous gun on the top. So I need a 6 to make it a glancing hit. We're going to roll a 2. So how about no? Now, is it destroyed on a 3+?
3 or better.
That is, oh,
No,
wow.
bailed again.
Okay. What is this game? Okay, well, he's bailed out as well. So that's the, I can't remember their name.
Chaffies.
Chaffies. I keep wanting to say Chernices. I don't know why. This is not even remotely close to their name. Okay, we got them resolved. We still have some pretty heavy guns over here.
Yeah, so we're going to move straight on to the Pershing and then the 2 Shermans.
Ooh, the Pershing didn't move either. It's got full rate of fire. The Pershing firing at the aggressive vehicles, hitting them on 3s. I am concealed. on the main target, so 4s to hit. Yep. Should be, we're in short range. Oh, the concealed helps them by 1 shot.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna move on to the Shermans. They're Easy 8 chassis, so they also maintain their full rate of fire when moving at a tactical. So they're gonna get 2 shots each. Again, you got concealment, so I need 4s.
And they're within short range, so 4s, yep. I see a pair of hits. I get a hit on both tanks. I think this one is a little bit further away, however, so it'll get a better save. This one saves on a 6, this one saves on a 5 if it's in long range. So 6 on the closer one. Ooh, nice.
So that's a firepower check to see if he bails out.
That's true, and then this guy here will fail that, okay. So the firepower check to see if he gets bailed out or not.
So I believe it's a 3+, that's a 6. Yep,
so he is definitely going to bail out, and then on a 3 up for him to be destroyed. Or he's also bailing out, though. Yep. I don't even have this many markers. Wild. Okay. I think that's it for the main tanks.
Yep.
Oh, we have these guys.
Yep, we got our little scout platoon over there.
Firing at the side of my Panzer IVs. We're going to fire at the Panzer IVs here with the, I can't remember the caliber of the weapon, but...
It's the M8 Greyhound, and it mounts a 37mm gun.
37mm gun. It's a pretty impressive, you can see it right there. It's a pretty big gun. Now, the Panzer IVs, as you can see on the turret, they have this weird kind of hull plating on it, or armor plating. Those are bazooka skirts, but they were called...
Scherzen.
So what it does mechanically is my side armor is typically 3, but against a weapon that has a firepower of 5 or 6, which is the roll to see if you do any damage, the armor is actually increased against the lighter weapon by 2. So I go to armor 5, which I could still fail. We're looking for 4s to hit, the rate of fire 1 on each one, so a couple shots on 4s because of concealment. All right, 2s. All right, now we get to do something new for the game. Well, not for the game, but new for you, the viewer, new for me. We're going to fire artillery. They get a fancy template and a few steps to resolve this, but we are going to target the half tracks. I think specifically that do...
This one right here is the only one that I can see.
With all of them, yeah.
Yep. Because if we want to point out to everyone, these Calipes are on the edge of the hill. These two do not have a direct line of sight to anything, but he does because the hill is just slightly lower.
And then we're going to use him as the range, the spotter. We're going to target that half track, and we are going to grab that template. Now, those are Calipes. They fire a salvo of missiles, like pepper an entire area with them quite a bit. So to represent that, we got this monstrosity of a template. So as you can see, firing artillery. So you point that towards the main target, and then you put the hole over the initial target there. Sorry for the glare on the light there, but you guys get the idea. The hole's over top of him, and the template covers all of them. For typical artillery, use the square in the middle. The salvo obviously covers a bigger area of effect. Taking a look at the M4 Sherman Calliope. I did it! I said it! You'll notice it's got 48-inch range. It's actually shorter range. It is... shorter range for an artillery fire compared to some other artillery pieces, but it does have salvo there, which represents that larger blast. The anti-tank value is 2, and the firepower is 5+.
So, Luka, we're breaking into a new section, as you pointed out, where we're going to have to attempt to range in. This is a different type of shooting, unlike what we've been doing so far. What we're going to have to do is we have to spot with one of our teams towards your teams, and we get 3 attempts to try to range in and see if that template lands there.
And this is, the 3 attempts is for any amount of elements in a platoon, or is it because you have 3 teams in that platoon?
It is just the rules for firing artillery to range in.
All right, so how does this, you have to roll to see if you hit.
So I have to do a skill check, which is a 4 or better. So I got to roll a 4 or better on the first attempt, which I did.
Nice. Taking a look at some of the charts here. Number of weapons firing, 3 or 4. That means there will be no rerolls to hit or to miss, just whatever we get. And then for the actual hits, and then range in modifiers. We passed that because there were none that were relevant. We're not fighting at night, and we weren't in terrain while we shot. I'm beside it, but not in it. And then to the to hit modifiers, which is about to come up now, you'll notice range in on second attempt would add a +1 to the modifier, and range in on the third attempt would be +2. In this case, we got it on the first hit, so no modifiers to it. Now we go to the normal sequence for shooting, and let's take a look at the half-track stats. Taking a look at the half track, you see a lot of familiar stats here. Highlighted on the right, we have an aggressive characteristic. So they're hit on 3s, and this is in reference to that template I showed earlier. If Rob had ranged in on the second shot, he would have a +1 modifier to that. On the third shot, it'd be a +2 modifier. And the rest you kind of get here. If you look at the armor values, 110 on these half tracks, and the top is specifically important against the salvo shots as the shots are coming from above. So I have an armor of 0. And on top of all of that, range modifiers for long range will not matter against the salvo/artillery fire. Now we roll to see if we hit the vehicles. We roll them all at the same time, and then that's the main target. Then I allocate evenly the rest of them if we have hits. So we're looking for 3s. That's 3 out of 4 hits. Very good. So that guy's hit, and we'll say your hit and your hit. That guy dodges the salvo. Now the anti-tank value of this salvo is only 2. So I need to roll a 2 to at least make it a glancing hit. Otherwise, a 3-up completely negates the shots here. So that's the commander. He is fine. Second guy is fine. Third guy, ooh, that's a drop die. Third guy is fine. Yeah, I just dodged them all. All right, somehow the salvo missiles just all around.
And that's it for my shooting, and I think that's going to wrap up my turn because I don't see any assaults that I need to worry about.
Okay, well, that means I got a lot of checks to do in my startup step as we move on to the bottom of turn 2 for the Germans. And now we got the starting step. We have to remount our tanks. Like I said earlier, the crews are preoccupied inside the tank or outside of the tank doing one of many various tank repairs. We'll start with our Panzer IVs because they have a unique rule to interact here. Taking a look at the motivation section here, you'll notice under the red number, there are better modifiers to certain aspects of motivation. The Panzer IV has 2 rules here, one of them being the Third Reich rule, last stands on a 4-up instead of the usual 5-up it might typically do. And then the Panzer IVs do come with protected ammo, which means they remount easier, they have less to worry about, and they get back in the battle quicker. Start with that Panzer IV. You would get rerolls if they're within range of my commander, but he's a little too far away, so we'll start with that one there. This is protected ammo, so 4-up. That one doesn't matter, so he's still bailed out. They're still preoccupied, and then that one there is okay. So they jump back in their Panzer. And if you're curious what that bailed out means for this turn, the crew is too occupied to partake in the battle this turn, so it will not move, it will not fire, it won't assault, it won't do anything. When we move over to the Ostwind, the one that is bailed out there, they have a confident crew, so on a 4-up, but we do have the commander nearby. No, all right, still bailing out that one. When we go to the Hornice, they're fearless in motivation. So they get back in on 3+. So Hornice there. Oh, wow. Hornice over there. Okay, so they get back in. The other one, however, is stuck back there for this turn. Now, for the next part in the starting step, I have to check last stands. Now, this is relevant to platoons that have 1 tank element left or infantry squads that have 2 or less left. Now, in this case, this crew is bailed out. That counts as only having 1 operational tank. So I have to do a last stand on the Hornice here. They hold. And we're going to move on to the Ostwind because we only have 1 operational team. They are going to see if they stick around with last stand. 3-up. Rerollable, though. Oh, the Ostwinds leave the battlefield. And that means the whole platoon leaves. The crew run away, they abandon their tank, and the other one just drives off.
The bailed out vehicle, however, to point out, will remain there. They spike the guns in the vehicle and destroy it because it's not operational, so it'll count as terrain.
Huh. Didn't help them too much, though. Okay, so that's, just like Rob said, they've sabotaged that tank so the Americans cannot get it, and the crew themselves are going to go back and try and do a little bit better. Now, luckily, I was able to mount up on one of these tanks. I do not have to do a last stand for them because I still have 2 operational tanks. And we're going to go on to movement. Forgot about one more last stand, and this is a scary one. This is for my Hunter Panthers over there.
They are a Third Reich, Luka, so they are 3+.
Oh, barely. I got a little bit of glare on that die. That's a 3. I got lucky. But we have to deal with these scouts over here, or else they're going to go threaten this objective, and that's not ideal. So, the Panzer IVs will do that. And we're going to start with this guy. Boop, 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 boop. Go tactical speed to there. And then this guy's turret's probably just going to rotate. I don't actually know what I want to do with my commander. I'll come back to him. I'm going to move him last. Our Hummels are in a pretty good position just to fire direct fire into the tanks in the crossroad there, though this one has got to move because it doesn't have any line of sight. So it's going to go at tactical speed, and it's going to move. I think it's going to move to here and do a check. It's got a tactical speed of 10, so it'll go 8 to there, and we're going to check on a 3-up. Nope, he just boop, gets stuck right there. That's okay. Well, not really. I would have liked to reroll that. The Hornice are going to stay still and double their shots. Well, the singular one will because they're still bailed out. And then our Pumas are going to go at tactical speed. We're just going to try and bully that one Chaffee there and bully these two on the front end and try and clear up the middle a little bit. So we're going to do a cross-country dash of 16 inches right up to the hill. So we've dashed towards the objective. And then you're probably going to stay still for your double firepower. And hopefully you just roll good. We're on to shooting. We might as well start here with our Hunter Panther. And we're going to be firing at the Easy 8s. And we might as well start with the Brute out front, or the big guy. What is it called?
Jumbo.
Jumbo! So no modifiers. They're just careful. So forced to hit with a pair of dice. I got a hit. I'll take a hit. AT-17, we're in half range. Jumbo's armor is 11. So you need a 6 to make this a glancing hit. That's a 2. So firepower dice says that Jumbo is out of here. Boom! Sky high! And then onto the Hornice. They're going to take a couple of shots at the, I could do this, Chaffee, there we go. Forgot it again. That's okay. Got the one guy with the 2 shots. Not in short range, however. We got a pair of hits, though. Sorry, no, they're not aggressive. They're careful, so we have 1 hit there. But it should go right through the armor. Even with long range. Only front armor 4. So I roll a 3. That does destroy the one in the middle. Yep. That's the commander. So that's the new commander now.
That guy right there.
Correction, I'm going to target that tank. Just because I remembered my Hummels in the woods here are going to take a couple shots at the one I targeted with the Hornice there. Which makes that they need to fire at the middle one. So they're going to fire next, the Hummels, into the tanks in the middle here. And we're going to fire and we're going to declare the middle one as our target. And they're close enough to the edge of the woods to not provide concealment to you. They're firing out of the woods. They only have a single shot with direct fire each. Both hitting on 4s. 1 will hit. I'm pretty sure the anti-tank's high enough to go
straight to firepower, yep.
Ooh, it is automatic.
Yeah, so he just blows up.
They shoot a 15 centimeter shell, I guess. It's about 6 inches, and it's got a rule called automatic. It automatically does damage, which is cool. Okay, so correction, a little bit, not really a correction, but the anti-tank value is 11, which means the armor 4 on the Chaffee can't save, but we had played it earlier as a 7 did save. We didn't get the 7 save earlier. At least I don't think we did. No, it didn't matter because it was just on a vehicle, I believe, elsewhere. But that was incorrect. You can only ever save on a d6 roll of a 6 at a highest. So disregard the earlier roll in the first turn. But we're done with the Hummels. And I forgot to. I had to. Dang it. Yes. Okay, he's just gonna fire down there. That's fine. We're gonna go with the tank commander next, and we're gonna pivot him a little bit before he fires. So he gets a clean shot, well, not exactly clean, it's still long range, down at the Jeeps and those lighter tanks. We're going to fire 2 because I didn't move, and these are careful targets, so we're hitting them on 5s because of the range. Oh, the range helps them. The last thing to fire are my Panzer IVs. They're still kind of kicking strong. I actually think I want the 1 to fire at the command tanks because I'm a little afraid of the pressure they're applying here. And this one is just going to do a singular shot at the Jeeps here. Because I think the Jeeps are honestly better to fire at them with like heavier machine guns. And just put a lot of dice into them as opposed to single shots because they're very lithe and hard to actually hit. So they always have a save of 4 up. But regardless, this one's trained to fire at them. So he'll fire at the Jeeps. We'll say that target there in general, in specific. And then this Panzer IV, who didn't move, will take a couple shots at the command tanks. On second thought, looking at all the options here, the Pershing's a little... looking at the line of sight, this one Panzer is blocking to the command tanks, so I'd have to fire the Pershing, and his armor is too high, so we are going to turn that turret. Or the entire vehicle. It's magnetized, so it's like a strong magnet. There we go. And we're going to fire at the Jeeps. But it does get 2 shots. Greyhound in the middle there will be the main target. 4s to hit. We got a hit on that Greyhound.
Okay.
He has a 4-up save.
No, the Greyhound is an armored vehicle. It's only the Jeeps that are the 4-up.
I
so
see.
they are armored at 2. So I don't think I'm going to be making a save.
No, not against that. So do I do any damage with it? That does destroy it.
So
And there we go. All right, we did a little bit of damage to them as they approach, and that is turn.
No, you still got him?
Oh, he's bailed out.
Oh, right.
They're too preoccupied. I got no assaults. But I do have pressure on that objective over there. And, oh, my Pumas! My Pumas didn't fire. They're going to fire into the
Short
Chaffee.
range concealed on a Chaffee, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Couple shots on 5s because there is a ruined tank in the way. Nope. That's what I get for forgetting. And now we're done our turn. Now all of the shots are taken. And we are going to go on to turn 3 for the Americans. And see if they can shake these tanks from this area. And over to here, I want to note, we both are contesting this objective. So I have 3 models to your 3 models. So I'm not actually in control of it. So Rob doesn't have to worry about him for this turn, but I do have a lot of infantry in there, which could put a lot of pressure on it. There's no bailouts, there's no remounting onto any of the vehicles, but we do have a couple last stands.
Last stand on the Pershing.
Which should be, this is a 4-up, I believe, right?
Yeah, he's confident 4-up, and the company commander is still next to him.
So rerollable. You don't need it, that's a 6.
All right, that's hot.
Very
I like
good.
it.
And then we got the Chaffee.
Last stand. Now him, I forget what his is.
All right, he's confident 4+.
Yep, no reroll though. Oh, it's a 4.
Oh, he's sticking around. There's one Chaffee left. We go a cross-country dash on the Jeeps and the
Greyhounds.
Greyhound. They're going to end up around here.
Yep.
Because they go
16
inches. That's right.
Yep. And the Jeeps go 20. So.
Putting pressure on my objective.
Oh yeah. For these guys, Luka, we're just going to keep them still, and we're just going to keep hammering on those PZ4s.
It's the Shermans and the Pershing. We just keep firing at the Panzers. Oh.
So the Chaffee, we're going to move at a tactical speed of up to 12. Try to get closer to the Hornice and take some shots at them.
Popping off the road there. And the lone is like the commander of the squad, I suppose. Yep. The lone Chaffee.
All right, so our airborne are going to continue holding that ground from Luka's advance, and our EZ8s are going to take shots at your Yag Panther, staying still, and our Calliope is going to do the same thing, just sit and shoot. We're gonna go back and change this. We're actually going to move this guy forward on a tactical speed just to get within short range of that Yag Panther.
The Shermans have a rule called stabilizers, which just lets them fire a full rate of fire under a tactical move, but at an additional modifier to hit. Just going to go sit beside his buddy. No jumbos, though.
Yep.
And then the artillery, the salvos in the back will stay still.
So we're just going to start here with the Pershing and then move on to the command elements on your PZ4s.
Just Pershing into the Panzer.
So
short range and concealed is it, so should be a 4 to hit because I'm aggressive.
Yep, 2 shots.
Couple shots because he didn't move. That is,
oh, rough.
Somehow dodged him where the runes protect. And the command element, also a couple shots on 4s because they concealed. So we have the runes protecting 1 of those and then 3 go through. So it's going to be 1, 2, and then I allocate.
Equally. Yep.
Yeah, so they'll both have a hit on them, and I'll do a 3rd hit on him because he's out of line of sight.
Yep.
Ooh, correction. There are 3 hits. The first one has to be allocated to a live tank. This one's out of line of sight, so can't have any allocated to it. And then 1 will go to the bailed out tank, and then the additional 1 will go to the live tank. So what is the anti-tank here?
The anti-tank is a 12 on EZ8s, 76 mil gun.
We need a 6 to save on the bailed out tank. That's a fail. We know that. This guy, the turret, the side of the turret is exposed, so the armor is so low, and by so low I mean 3, it can't save against the 11, so they both automatically go through as well. So the question is, does the firepower connect, or is it simply superficial? We'll start with the bailed out tank.
So a 3+. So he's double bailed.
So he gets a double bail, so I immediately have to do a last stand check to see if the crew says...
For that tank, yep.
Yeah, to see if the crew says, this is too much for us.
Correct.
We don't want to be here anymore. And they are going to pass that. So and then I immediately lose that bailout marker. I stay at 1. And then I have 2 firepowers on this one here. That is dead. Boy, smoke. Yep. Boom. All right. Well, we finally lost the Panzer. I'm still sad about it all the same. Move over to the Chaffee, who gets a couple shots at my Hornice, but because he moved and is firing a full rate of fire, he does give me an additional modifier.
From the stabilizers.
So 5s here. Oh, those are way off target.
Yep.
And the easy 8s on the Yag Panther. Here we go.
So now we got the first one. He's moving with stabilizers, so he's a +1. They're both at short range.
Correct.
So normally I would need a 4 to hit. So he's going to need a 5.
Ooh,
Nothing.
Off target.
The other guy, 4s.
That's a hit. That's a hit. All right, so I am armor 9 on the front. I need a 4 to ricochet that shot. That's a 3, so that's a glancing hit.
That's going to be a glance.
So
firepower 3 or better, and he's bailed out.
Oh, he's bailed out? Still kicking, though. All right, then we still have to resolve the artillery salvo. All right, we're going to aim the artillery right. It's a damn close salvo. We're going to range from that guy onto them, right on the middle element there. And we have to see how many shots it takes to range in. And the skill on them is 4. So we're looking to connect here with a 4. If the first one connects.
Attempt.
Oh,
nope, second attempt.
Second range in attempt. Ooh.
On to the third and final.
Oh, we range in. All right. But I do get a +2 modifier to my hit because it took a while to range in on them. They are aggressive, so they need 5s to hit because they're 3s base.
So I'm going to start here and go that way.
First one. That's a hit. Nice. Second one. Oh, no. Third. Okay, it's a miss, and the last one. All right, so we got
So the
two
first
hits.
two.
Anti-tank 2. I'm looking for a 3+ to beat that. Guys, keep your heads down on that. They keep their heads down, and they keep their heads down. Okay. With that salvo, we have no assaults to resolve. We're going to go on to German turn 3, where I got a lot of bailouts to do. All right, let's start with the bailouts first. Let's see if we get back in the tank on a 4-up because they got protected ammo. They do. All right, so they are good. I don't have to worry about last stand on them. They can shoot guns. We're going to move to the Hornice over here. They're fearless in motivation, so they remount. Okay, well, bailed out. Let's see if we get back in there. Nope. And well, is that the last one? That should be the last one.
That's your last bailed out, yep.
Well, that crew is deciding that this flank is suspicious, so let's see if they stick around. Last stand, they have the third right rule. They do, okay. We're literally on a 3-up. Oh no, my fire. That'll be right on the movement. I don't really know. Like, the Hornice are going to stay still. That's an easy one. The Yag Panther is going to move this time because I got to get it within. I got to get a little bit closer to the objective so I don't automatically lose it to these lads. And I might trade fire with the command tanks. Tactical move, just to right there. Because why not? Mm-hmm. We're going to keep this Hummel where it is just because it's going to direct fire into the Jeeps, I guess. Actually, we're going to go a little bit further forward just so it's got direct fire. Better line of sight to him. Panzer IV will stay still. And this Panzer IV is probably going to do a tactical move. I guess he could just stay still and fire his turret backwards. Yeah, why not? We'll do that. And then the Pumas are going to move up behind these Shermans here, tactically. Going to go through the alleyway, turn around, and in an attempt to outmaneuver the Easy 8s. We're going to disembark from the half tracks and just make that, that hill will be for Germany. That's a German hill. This is now, hey, moved a little bit. This is now Hill Germany, but it's still contested on the objective, so I have to deal with those tanks with missiles on the top of them because I can never... the Corleones. Right, let's go to shooting. Can't fire our freaking Panzer, so... Or I guess these are all Panzers in their own way. I guess that... Panther. That's it, Panther. Let's just see if this move even means anything. Let's fire our Pumas into the back of the Shermans. We're going to fire one because they moved. I got a hit. What was the... Well, I guess you do the same now. Armor 9 against... sorry, anti-tank 9.
Yep, anti-tank 9 against armor 4, so...
A 4-up. Hey, I destroy one! He's got killed by a Puma! Boom. There's still one tank remaining, though. But that's kind of cool. I love that for the Pumas. And we're going to go over to the Hornice. We're going to just fire those guns into that Chaffee, dude. They got 4 shots. He's careful, hitting him on a 4. Okay, that's why he's... Damn. Right, we got 2 Hummels, direct fire, and then 1 Hummel, direct fire. Fire the big gun at that thing. I don't like its face. Is it aggressive or careful?
It is careful.
Nah, it's coward. It misses. 2 direct fire shots in the Chaffee. Chaffee, yeah, that's correct. That's a hit. It definitely goes through his armor and automatically does damage, so I kill it. Yep. Let's go to the Panzer IVs. We're going to turn the turret directly backwards and fire a Jeep. Beep, beep, I'm a Jeep. And then we're going to fire the the Panzer IV into the command tanks, because why not, I guess. No. Jeep. Whatever, I'll fire at an Easy 8. I like it. Let's do it. So we'll do that shot for his shots first. Oh, a couple of hits. That's actually a hit allocated to both of them because I got really lucky there with my shots. Nice. And these are anti-tank 11 against armor of
7.
Oh.
See first?
The 2 IC is second command.
Mm-hmm.
He is
11, so it's a chance to bail.
Oh, it might be. Okay, I guess I'll roll that up. The firepower. So he's nothing happens.
Yeah. And then here,
Ooh.
he's also a chance to bail.
So he's bailed, yeah.
Okay.
Couple of rate of fire into the back of the beeps. That's a hit. And I guess I would have had to allocate.
Closest Jeep, yeah. 4 plus.
4 plus because the Jeep save. Oh, that's a 6. Then we'll move on to our tank commander who will do a single shot into the middle tank. And it is concealed. And he is in short range, so we're looking for a 5 to land a hit. Oh, that's a hit. That's a big gun hit. For number 7, no save. Hey, boom. Go home. I mean, never mind, just die. All right, well, that was kind of cool. Doesn't really accomplish much, mind you, but it feels cool. I think that's it for over here in shooting. We have to resolve the infantry firing into the artillery, the Corleones. Now, the weapon has a few rules here, limited 2, which means they don't want to blow all of them right away. They have a lot of battle to resolve here. So only a couple of them are going to fire the Panzerfaust, and they only get 1 shot each, and they are slow to fire, so it's a little bit harder to move and fire with them. So, are they careful?
They are.
Okay, so hitting on 5s. Oh, nice, slow to fire. I would be absolutely ridiculous if I charged into the assault phase into that many machine gun shots. However, if I maybe shook one of them, or sorry, what is the term?
Bailed out.
Bailed out one of them, or heck, even 2, I definitely would have gone to the assault. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to wait a little bit. Well, I guess also he's got machine guns he can fire in his turn, so I might as well go into the assault. This is bad for the Germans, but they're going to do it for the fatherland. Oh boy, here we go. So we have 4 machine guns per element here, so 12 shots. Now the thing is, if you get at least 5 shots, they have to back off, and the assault is canceled.
5 hits.
5 hits, yep. And I'm hit on 3s.
Ready?
So yeah, no, I'm not. But we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hits. Yeah, that means they're pushed away. Got a little overzealous. Technically, you're supposed to resolve the assault first. So if they're within 4 inches, they do a 4-inch move. You get as many guys into base contact as you can. And then anyone else that can't make it but then could support does exactly this. So they disembarked to pull off a maneuver like that. Then they assault in, and then you resolve the machine guns, and I take many hits, friends. Yeah, so they all take a hit of the 9, and then I still have 2 more to give out, so these 2 could take 2 hits. I just do infantry saves, which on the units here are 3 up, so I'll do them 1 at a time. So I got 2 on them. So they die.
Fails, so he's dying.
And then the next one that had 2 are fine, and then the singulars. 1, 2, they pass, and then I got 3 more singulars. First one dead, second one alive, last one dead. So I lose this one, and this one. Now they get a pin down marker, unfortunately for them. It was a game-winning move if they survived that, but it wasn't very likely for them. Protected ammo for a remount on the commander.
So
That's
he's 3+.
He's okay. Now he has to do a last stand, though, because he's only 1 tank of 2. Scratch that. He's a commander. They never take last stands. But do you have any other remounts?
No, but the Pershing's got to make his last stand.
Last stand on a Pershing. 4 for rollable. Reroll because the commander is right there being homie yelling at him. Ah, the Pershing sticks around. And that's it. We go right on to movement. Oh, no, we have another last stand over here. The Sherman.
The Sherman. He's a 4+.
He's a 4+, no reroll.
He actually has protected ammo, so he's a 3+.
For last stand?
Remount, I'm sorry, for last stand is a 4+, my apologies.
Oh, he decides he does not want to fight any longer. And that is it for the startup. We are on to movement here. And I got lucky with the Easy 8 piecing. We just have to deal with the Corleones over there. And we're on to regular movement.
So for movement, we're going to move our Easy 8 at a tactical speed just a couple inches to get here so he gets a cleaner shot in the Jagd Panther, and we're going to move him out as well. Yeah, and then follow that up by our Greyhound, moving over to try to get some side armor shots on you.
All right, we're going to show you where they'll end up. All right, that's where the Pershing and the Commander with the armored vehicle. I can never remember the name. Ghost Crawler?
That's a Greyhound. Yeah.
All right. And then over to here we have the infantry.
The infantry are going to be staying still, holding their ground, and our Calliope's are going to sit still and just open fire when it comes to the shooting step.
All right, which is now, I suppose.
Yep.
Would you just like to start with them?
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, machine gun time.
3s.
You need 3s. My guys are aggressive. There should be no modifiers to hit here. We're super close. You didn't move, obviously. And I hate this for my infantry, but they tried a bold move. Okay.
Let's see, what do we got here?
All right, this is 3-up infantry save. I'm going to take lose a base. All right, well, this is still my hill, kind of. And we're going to progress to this side of the battlefield where we have the Greyhound trying to do some damage to the Jagd Hunter here on the side.
So we need a 4 to hit you?
Yes, I'm careful. That's a hit.
A hit.
Very good. And we're close to no negative modifiers there, or positive modifiers.
Yep.
That's a strength 7 shot to my armor 5 on the side. And I'm going to roll. Ooh, I failed it.
Oh, this is going to be a big one because although a small gun, it's a mighty firepower of 4+.
Oh, that's pretty good. 4+. No. Okay, but he is bailed out.
So he'll be bailed out, yep.
This is a good shot. Yeah. And now we have the big boys.
Yeah, let's do the Pershing first if you're okay with that. So it's going to be a single shot.
Should be a 4 to hit.
Yes, because we're at short range now.
And there's nothing in the way.
Yep.
Good luck.
6.
Ooh, 6. All right, well, what's the strength of the person
That
turret?
anti-tank is a 14 to your front armor of 9.
9, yeah, okay. So we are going to not save that. So what's the firepower 3 up, I assume?
Firepower is a 3 up. You are correct.
Is he out of here? Yes. The tank commander is gone. That is, unfortunately, my commander's tank. We're going to see if he survives the battle, or sort of that interaction, and jump to a Hummel, because it is within 6. In this case, he does. He does jump. He's still alive and commanding from this position here. That is removed, and we are going to go ahead. And that is the destruction of that tank. And unfortunately, I've got nothing holding this objective now. That is all the Americans needed to do. If you start your turn within range of the objective and end your turn with nothing contesting it, you control that objective and thus immediately win the game. I had tried a bolder move over on this side, which did fail, unfortunately, for the Germans. Had I reinforced this objective a little bit more and maybe was a little more patient over there, it could have been a different outcome. But I'm still very pleased with how the pacing of this game went. So what Rob and I are going to do, we're going to clean up a little bit here, and we're going to jump into a post-game for this game of Flames of War. Thanks for checking out this Flames of War battle report, everyone. Don't forget, if you want more content like this, all you have to do is click on the link down below and you can go check out the second game. All right, Rob and I are all tidied up. We are actually setting up for a second game right now, but I want to thank you for coming by and teaching me how to play Flames of War and immersing me in this glorious World War II tank game, which I always kind of wanted to play. When I was younger, I didn't know anyone that played. And then coming here, Josh was always into Team Yankee, which I don't really know anything about. I've always been more fascinated with World War II, so I love the option of having both of them here. And I just had a blast, and I learned a lot in this game. And I will be going into our second game with a lot more knowledge and just generally what my tanks do a lot better, because if I'm going to be completely honest for anyone at home, I don't know anything about tanks. I know that they are heavy, they shoot big guns, and they often shoot at each other. And that's about all I know.
And they're beautiful.
And they're beautiful. You know what? They are pretty ingenious in their design, I must say. Obviously, Rob knows quite a bit here about tanks, and then we have his co-worker here, Anthony, behind me in the corner, not mic'd up. You wouldn't be able to hear him too much. And Josh is a big tank head as well. Yeah. So they're like all three of them just kind of talking and cool historical things and things like, oh, the Yag Hunter here is like, it's really cool because, or Yag Panther here, it's really cool because, you know, it uses a big Tiger gun, but it can't be on a turret because the stabilization isn't super nice, and the turret's built so far back that, you know, that's why it's, I can't remember the term. What is it called when it's just on, like, in the tank but not turret?
It's stabilized.
Stabilized, yeah.
Fixed weapon.
Fixed position. Yeah, fixed position. Yeah, so I'm like, this thing has to move around and shoot this big, dumb, ridiculous gun. Like, you can compare that to a Tiger 2, boom, with that same gun, but on a turret instead. So, like, you know, obviously the tonnage of this tank is way big, which I think is cool. Just like the bigger and bigger tanks. I like everyone else who gets into tank games, obviously you go right to the Tigers because they're pretty infamous. And then I don't know what this I know that this is a Tiger as well, but
it's the Yag Tiger. So it's the Tiger 2, also known as the King Tiger. So the one with the turret. It's that Tiger, but with a fixed mounted gun in place.
So, like, is it a bigger gun?
It is a bigger gun.
So it even got bigger. So we have a Tiger 2 chassis with, like, a fixed weapon. It's got a big, fancy, like, probably MG40, like, 42. Well, it's got one there, too. It's got a lot of machine guns, which is nice. And it's just such a, like, bigger, it's an expensive tank, obviously, points-wise. But, like, you know, this is a great opportunity to show off some of the new models coming out for the late war Germans here in the Bulge German book.
It's important to note on this, too, that this is going to be a quick viewing of the new plastics for those, because those are the new plastics that are coming out.
Yeah, these are plastic kits. Mm-hmm. Boom, 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 boom. So they're very light, and we have quite a few of them here. I'll be playing with the out-of-the-box stuff, but I'm very tempted to see what these guys could do kind of like on their own, even though they would just bring up, they themselves would be the majority of the list if I'm bringing Tiger 2s to it. Yeah. But like, I'm impressed with like this Yag Hunter here, or sorry, this Yag Panther, Hunter Panther here, is like pretty much as effective shooting wise as, like, you know, the Tiger 2 there, but this guy can't really take, well, it can take a hit, but not like that can take a hit, which I'm always, if you look at any of the war games I play, I always play the durable guys. I like the Necrons, or the kind of numerous attrition, don't like to lose models too much, and if I do lose them, they kind of come back, so I love big durable things that could take a hit, and then, or better yet, if I could describe it, I like having the biggest thing on the table. be it like a Tiger 2 or big nasty commander that can do whatever he wants on the battlefield. Like, this guy could probably roll around. As long as he's got enough support, this guy could roll around on the battlefield all he wants and be relatively safe, I got to imagine, until, you know, he eventually gets surrounded and then hammered down at all flanks. But even then, he's still almost as durable. I think he's armor 8 on the side. I just double checked. It is armor 8 on the side, which is one lower than the hunters I was running all game. Armor 16 on the front. I don't even know. Only their own gun can really kill them. I'm sure there's like, does anyone else have a bigger gun than that?
Bazookas.
There's bazookas. Okay. And we're talking very few select things could take this thing out on the front. Maybe some super heavy artillery could really hammer down from the top. It does have only armor 2 on the top. That's like against general artillery. That is nigh unkillable as well. I love it. Obviously, it had its faults in the war, as you know, many who are knowledgeable in that regard will know, as I've been enlightened as well. The design of it, it's hard to. Once they went down, that was kind of it for them. There was no repairing them. There was a lot of reasons there, but regardless, still a pretty cool part of history. These big monstrosities that obviously help, you know, lead design forward, and obviously a lot of the American design went forward. It's kind of cool to see what tanks became and where they went. And I just think World War II is a fascinating piece of human history. A lot of interesting things happened. I guess I should clarify, obviously, war bad. I hope most of you know that when I say that, but like the innovation that came along with the war is the fascinating part of it. You know, like when humans are put to the extreme edges of survival, they come up with some pretty interesting things, that being these cool tanks, or heck, those cool tanks, or you know, like anything else, right? Anything else. Anyways, folks, that is about it for this post game, because we are eager to get in our second one. We're going to be playing with the same list, but we are changing up the scenario, and we're going to be playing with the orders, and the game will be quite a bit different. So thank you for tuning in, and be sure to check out the next game that Rob and I are going to be playing. It will be Germans against the Americans again, and we're going to be playing with a few more of the advanced rules, and you'll get a better idea of what this game is with all of that included. And again, I want to point out what we played was a very rudimentary, just first game of Flames of War, keeping it kind of simple. Now we're going to play Flames of War. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and again, be sure to check out the next game when you have the time to. Happy wargaming!